Exactly how bad is a Toyota Camry dynamically? Toyota Camrys are not known to be good driver's cars, and they shouldn't be. I admit that. Here's the funny thing. Even though a Toyota Camry is admittedly not a driver's tool, this is not a driver's car, it's not a Porsche 911, it's not a BRZ, it's nothing that's made to drive well. But the funny thing is that because the dynamics of just physics are in its favor compared to an SUV or a truck or something else like that, it's still better to drive than the vast majority of those kinds of vehicles. I'm a little bit embarrassed to note that the very first thing I thought of whenever I jumped in it and started the car and drove away and turned was, wow, it's actually pretty good. That's not the right thing to think about when you have a Toyota Camry, right? You should be thinking, oh, this is garbage, it's sloppy, it's not responsive. But because it weighs so much less than a truck or an SUV, it actually responds better than a lot of those do. Because it has such a lower center of gravity than those vehicles, it actually turns better than a lot of those do. So it was a funny thing to think about initially. Now that I've gotten used to it though, after the last week of driving it, yes, it is sloppy. It's not responsive. One of my least favorite things is this alleged sport mode in the transmission, which is a glorified top gear holder kind of method. Like I put it in there now, and now it's got me in fifth, which basically means it will downshift if I accelerate. Let's try it. Downshifted, but it's still showing me fifth gear. So it's not a manual. I've got paddle shifters, but it's nothing like a manual. It's sort of like the car telling you it won't upshift more than that. But then I tested that out too, and I went, well, what happens if I hit red line? Will it bounce off the rev limiter? Will it hold itself in gear for me? Because that would be cool. That's a little bit like a manual. No. It will just go ahead and shift. So Toyota, what is the point of paddle shifters? An S next to the D for sport mode? A little plus minus indicator like I have some kind of choice in what gear I'm shifting in? No, I have no choice whatsoever. I have no control. Even right now, I am stopped. And it says that I'm in fourth. Look at this. It says sport mode, fourth gear. What are we talking about here? I'm not in fourth gear. I'm obviously in first gear. Wow. That guy, I said wow because that guy just ran a red light. I'm obviously in first gear because I was stopped. So why does it say fourth? It's just totally the opposite of a driver's car. There's no dynamic force behind it. There's no intentionality in how it was engineered to be a good driving tool. But the funny thing is that you can't get away from the physics of a smaller, lower, lighter vehicle when it comes to these behemoths that a lot of us drive nowadays. I typically drive a 2013 Ford F-150, and it is a boat. I don't care how much suspension and technology and everything you put into a vehicle that size, you can't totally escape the weight. And that's what I learned by driving this Toyota Camry for the last week. As just a vehicle to use every day, yes, it is a faithful thing. I've averaged 32.7 miles per gallon. The screen actually looks really bad unless you're using Apple CarPlay, because right now it looks like a screen from 1999. I mean, it looks awful. When you plug in Apple CarPlay, it definitely looks better. And overall, it's not a terrible place to be. The ergonomics are okay. I'm 6'5", but I fit. It's fine. It's not the worst. But man, if you want something that's actually good to drive, something fun and engaging, this is not it. It really only has any wow factor if you've just come from big, heavy vehicles. Outside of that, skip it.